Most people spend their entire lives chasing approval. Approval from family, approval from friends, approval from strangers on the internet, approval from people who don't even know their struggle, their sacrifices, or their vision. And because of that, they stay stuck. They play small. They think small. They live small. But rich men, powerful men, men who actually build something real, they don't move like that. They don't ask for permission. They don't wait for validation. And they definitely don't need approval. Because the moment you start needing approval, you lose control over your life. Think about it. If your decisions depend on what other people think, then who's really in charge? Not you. You become a puppet. A puppet controlled by opinions, fear, and the need to be liked. And let's be honest, people are unpredictable. One day they support you. The next day they doubt you. One day they clap for you. The next day they laugh at you. So, if your confidence is built on their approval, it will collapse the moment they turn against you. That's why rich men build something different. They build internal validation. They wake up with a vision so strong that it doesn't matter who agrees with them. They move forward even when nobody believes in them. They take action even when people call them crazy. Because deep down, they understand one powerful truth. Approval is a trap. It feels good in the moment. It gives you comfort. It makes you feel accepted. But it also makes you weak. Because once you get used to approval, you become addicted to it. You start filtering your actions. Will people like this? Will they judge me? What will they say? And just like that, you stop being real. You stop being bold. You stop taking risks. And without risk, there is no growth. Without growth, there is no wealth. Look at anyone who has built real success. At some point, they were misunderstood. At some point, they were doubted. At some point, people questioned their decisions. But they didn't stop. They didn't go back and try to please everyone. They kept going. Because they knew something most people never learn. You can either be liked or you can be successful, but rarely both at the same time. Because success requires you to do things that others are afraid to do. It requires you to say no when others say yes. It requires you to walk away when others stay comfortable. It requires you to focus when others are distracted. And people don't like that. Why? Because your discipline exposes their laziness. Your ambition exposes their excuses. Your growth reminds them that they're standing still. So what do? They criticize you. They doubt you. They try to pull you back to their level. Not because they hate you, but because your progress makes them uncomfortable. And if you are someone who needs approval, that pressure will break you. You'll slow down. You'll start questioning yourself. You'll shrink your vision just to fit in. And that's exactly how dreams die. Not because they were impossible, but because the person chasing them cared too much about what others think. Rich men don't fall into that trap. They understand that loneliness is part of the journey. They understand that not everyone will understand them. They understand that sometimes the price of greatness is being misunderstood, and they accept it because they are not building a life for other people. They are building a life for themselves. They are building freedom. Freedom from opinions. Freedom from validation. Freedom from the need to be accepted. And once you reach that level, you become dangerous. Because now, nobody can control you. Nobody can manipulate you. Nobody can stop you. You don't need applause. You don't need recognition. You don't need someone to tell you you're doing the right thing. You just move, day after day, step after step, closer to your vision. And here's the truth most people don't want to hear. The people you're trying to impress are not even thinking about you. They're busy with their own problems, their own insecurities, their own fears. So why are you living your life based on their opinions? Why are you holding yourself back for people who wouldn't do the same for you? It doesn't make sense. If you really want to level up, if you really want to build wealth, if you really want to become unstoppable, you have to let go of approval completely. You have to become comfortable being misunderstood. You have to become okay with people doubting you. You have to accept that not everyone will support you. And that's fine, because you don't need everyone. You only need yourself, your vision, your discipline, your consistency. That's it. Because at the end of the day, success is not about being liked. It's about being focused. It's about being relentless. It's about doing what needs to be done, even when nobody is watching, even when nobody is clapping, even when nobody believes in you. That's the difference. That's what separates the average from the elite. And once you understand this, once you truly let go of the need for approval, everything changes. Your mindset changes. Your actions change. Your standards change. You stop chasing attention and start chasing results. There's a moment in every man's life where he has to make a decision that will define everything that comes after. Do you keep living for other people, or do you finally start living for yourself? Because you can't do both. You can't build a powerful life while constantly checking if people approve of your moves. It doesn't work like that. Every level of success requires a new version of you, and that version doesn't care about being liked. That version is focused, cold, disciplined, locked in, while everyone else is worried about opinions. He's worried about execution. While everyone else is trying to fit in, he's trying to level up, and that's where the separation begins. See, average people are emotional decision makers. They move based on how they feel. They stop when things get uncomfortable. They quit when they face resistance. They slow down when they get criticized. Why? Because their identity is tied to how others see them. If people praise them, they feel confident. If people doubt them, they feel insecure. So their progress is always up and down, always unstable, always dependent. But rich men, they operate differently. They don't let emotions control their actions. They don't let opinions dictate their direction. They don't let temporary discomfort stop long-term goals. They move with logic, with purpose, with intention. They understand that discomfort is part of growth. That criticism is part of success. That doubt is part of the process. So instead of avoiding it, they embrace it. They use it. They turn it into fuel. And that's why they keep moving forward, no matter what. Let's be real for a second. If you post something online and nobody likes it, how you feel? If you tell someone your goals and they laugh, what happens to your energy? If your family questions your decisions, do you start doubting yourself? Most people do. And that's the problem. Because your confidence is not supposed to come from the outside. It's supposed to come from within, from your standards, from your habits, from your discipline, not from likes, comments, or opinions, because those things are temporary. They change, they disappear. But who you are, that stays. That's why rich men invest in themselves more than anything else. They build a mindset that doesn't break under pressure. They train themselves to stay focused. Even when everything around them is chaotic, they don't react. They respond. There's a difference. Reaction is emotional. Response is controlled. Reaction is weak. Response is power. When someone criticizes them, they don't panic. They don't try to explain themselves. They don't seek approval. They analyze. Is there truth in this? If yes, improve. If not, ignore. Simple. No wasted energy. No emotional drama. Just progress. That's the mindset you need to develop, because the world is full of noise. Everyone has an opinion. Everyone thinks they know what's best for you. But here's the reality. Most people are not qualified to give you advice. They're not where you want to be. They haven't achieved what you want to achieve. They haven't sacrificed what you're willing to sacrifice. So why are you listening to them? Why are you letting their words influence your decisions? It doesn't make sense. If you take advice from average people, you will live an average life. It's that simple. Rich men understand this. That's why they are very selective about whose opinion they respect. They don't listen to everyone. They don't seek validation from the crowd. They trust themselves. And when they do seek guidance, it's from people who have already achieved what they want. People who have results. People who have proof, not opinions. Results, because results don't lie. And that's another thing. When you stop needing approval, you become more dangerous in your actions. You take bigger risks. You make faster decisions. You stop overthinking. Because overthinking is often just fear judgment. What if people don't like this? What if I fail and they laugh? What if I look stupid? These thoughts kill momentum. They slow you down. They keep you stuck. But when you remove approval from the equation, You move freely. You act quickly. You learn faster. And that gives you an unfair advantage. Because while others are hesitating, you're executing. While others are doubting, you're building. While others are watching, you're winning. That's how the game changes. But let me tell you something important. Not needing approval doesn't mean being arrogant. It doesn't mean ignoring everyone. It doesn't mean thinking you're better than others. No, it means being self-reliant. It means having a strong internal foundation. It means knowing your worth without needing others to confirm it. There's a difference. Arrogance is loud. Confidence is silent. Arrogance seeks attention. Confidence seeks results. Arrogance talks. Confidence works. Rich men operate with quiet confidence. They don't need to prove anything to anyone because their results speak for them. And results are the ultimate form of validation, not opinions, not compliments, not applause. Results, money in the bank, freedom in your time, control over your life. That's real validation. Everything else is noise. And once you understand that, you stop chasing approval completely. You stop trying to impress people. You stop explaining your moves. You just work silently, consistently, relentlessly, and over time, people start noticing, not because you ask them to, but because your results are impossible to ignore. That's how it works. At first, they doubt you. Then they question you. Then they watch you. And finally, they respect you. But by that point, you don't even care anymore because you didn't do it for them. You did it for yourself, for your vision, for your future. And that's the ultimate level of power. When you no longer need approval, but still earn respect. When you no longer seek attention, but still get recognized. When you no longer care what people think, but still win. That's when you've truly leveled up. That's when you've separated yourself from the average. That's when you become unstoppable. But it starts with a decision to stop living for others, a decision to trust yourself, a decision to take control of your life. No more asking for permission, no more waiting for validation, no more shrinking your vision. From this point forward, you move differently, you think differently, you act differently, because now you understand the truth. Approval is not power, independence is, and once you have that, there's nothing that can hold you back. Nothing. At some point, you have to realize something that most people never do. Nobody is coming to validate your life. Nobody is coming to approve your dreams. Nobody's going to sit you down and say, yes, this is the perfect time. You have our full support. Go ahead and become great. That moment doesn't exist. And if you keep waiting for it, you will waste years of your life. Years. Because the world doesn't reward hesitation. It rewards action. It rewards people who move without needing reassurance. It rewards people who are willing to step into the unknown alone. That's the part nobody talks about. This journey, it gets lonely. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because you're doing something rare. When you stop seeking approval, your circle changes. The conversations change. The energy changes. You stop relating people who only talk about comfort, gossip, and excuses. And they stop relating to you. You start thinking bigger, acting sharper, moving with purpose. And suddenly, you feel like you're in a different world. That's not a problem. That's growth. But most people can't handle that shift. They get uncomfortable. They feel isolated. And instead of pushing forward, they go back. Back to what's familiar. Back to what's accepted. Back to the version of themselves that everyone else is comfortable with. And that's where they lose. Because growth will always cost you something. Sometimes it costs comfort. Sometimes it costs relationships. Sometimes it costs being understood. But if you're not willing to pay that price, you will never reach a higher level. Rich men understand this better than anyone. They don't expect everyone to stay. They don't expect everyone to understand. They don't expect everyone to support them. They accept reality and keep moving because they are committed to their vision, not their comfort. And that's a powerful shift. When you become committed to your vision, you stop negotiating with distractions. You stop explaining your goals to people who don't get it. You stop seeking approval from people who haven't earned the right to give it. You just execute, day after day, No excuses, no delays, no emotional breakdowns every time something doesn't go your way, because now you're locked in. And being locked in is different. It's a different level of focus, a different level of discipline, a different level of intensity. It means you don't need motivation anymore. You don't wake up asking, do I feel like doing this today? You wake up and do it anyway, because your feelings are no longer in control. Your standards are. And standards don't change based on mood. Standards don't disappear when things get hard. Standards don't care about opinions. Standards demand consistency. And consistency is what builds power. Let's break this down. The reason most people fail is not lack of talent. It's not lack of opportunity. It's lack of consistency. They start strong. They get excited. They feel motivated. But the moment they face resistance, they slow down. They overthink. They look around for approval. And when they don't get it, they quit. That cycle repeats over and over again. And years go by with no real progress. But when you stop needing approval, that cycle breaks. You don't need anyone to clap for you to keep going. You don't need encouragement to stay disciplined. You don't need validation to believe in your path. You just move relentlessly. And that's what creates separation. Because consistency over time beats everything. It beats talent. It beats luck. It beats shortcuts every single time. But consistency requires mental toughness. And mental toughness comes from independence, from knowing that you're on your own and still choosing to show up. That's real strength. Not talking about goals, not posting about plans, not seeking attention, doing the work in silence when nobody is watching. When nobody cares, when nobody is supporting you. That's where champions are built, in isolation, in discomfort, in moments where quitting feels easier than continuing. That's where you prove to yourself who you really are. And once you pass that phase, something changes inside you. You stop doubting yourself. You stop second-guessing your decisions. You stop looking around for approval, because now you have proof. Proof that you can rely on yourself. Proof that you can stay disciplined. Proof that you can execute no matter what. And that kind of confidence, it's unshakable. It doesn't come from words. It doesn't come from compliments. It comes from experience, from showing up again and again when it's hard. That's what builds real belief. And once you have that belief, you become unstoppable. Because now, even if the whole world doubts you, it doesn't matter. You've already proven it to yourself. You've already built the habits. You've already developed a mindset. So external opinions become irrelevant. They lose power over you. And that's the ultimate freedom. Freedom from doubt. Freedom from fear of judgment. Freedom from the need to be accepted. That's what allows you to think bigger, to take bigger risks, to build something that actually matters. Because now, you're not limited by other people's expectations. You're only limited by your own vision. And if your vision is strong enough, nothing can stop you. Not criticism, not rejection, not failure. Because you understand something most people don't. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of it. Every successful person has failed, multiple times. But the difference is, they didn't stop. They didn't go back to seek approval. They didn't let failure define them. They used it. They learned from it. They adjusted and kept moving. That's the mindset you need. A mindset that is not dependent on outcomes. A mindset that is focused on progress. Because when you focus on progress, you win either way. If you succeed, you move forward. If you fail, you gain experience. There is no loss, only growth. But again, this only works if you don't need approval. Because if you do, failure will destroy you. It will embarrass you. It will make you retreat. But when you're independent, failure becomes a lesson, a tool, a stepping stone. And that's how you keep climbing, step by step, level by level, until one day you look back and realize how far you've come. Not because people supported you, not because they believed in you, but because you believed in yourself, because you stayed consistent, because you didn't quit, and because you never needed approval to begin with. At the end of the day, everything comes down to one question. Who are you living for? Is it for the crowd? Is it for people who change their opinions every week? Is it for those who will clap for you today and criticize you tomorrow? Or is it for yourself? Because if you're honest, truly honest, most people are not living their own life. They're living a performance designed to impress others, to fit in, to avoid judgment, to feel accepted. But that kind of life, it's a prison. It looks normal from the outside, but inside it slowly destroys you. Because deep down, you know you're capable of more. You know you're holding back. You know you're playing a smaller game than you were meant to play. And the worst part? You know exactly why. Fear of judgment, fear of rejection, fear of not being approved. That's what's stopping you. Not lack of skill, not lack of opportunity, not bad luck. Fear. And until you face that fear, nothing changes. You stay in the same place, year after year, watching others move forward while you stay stuck. But here's the truth you need to hear. Nobody who ever did something great did it while trying to be liked. It doesn't happen. Greatness is not comfortable. It's not safe. It's not approved by everyone. It's controversial. It's misunderstood. It's lonely. And that's exactly why so few people reach it. Because most people choose comfort over growth. They choose approval over freedom. They choose safety over success. But you have a choice. Right now, you can keep living like that, or you can make a decision that changes everything. A decision to stop asking for permission. A decision to stop explaining yourself. A decision to stop caring about opinions that don't matter. Because, let's be real, the people you're trying to impress have no control over your future. They're not paying your bills. They're not building your dreams. They're not putting in the work for you. So why do they have so much power over your decisions? Why are you giving them that power? It's time to take it back. All of it. Your focus, your energy, your direction, your life. Because the moment you stop needing approval, you become free. Free to think differently. Free to act boldly. Free to take risks without fear. Free to fail and get back up stronger. That's real power. And once you taste that freedom, you will never go back. You won't want to fit in anymore. You won't want to be average. You won't want to live a life controlled by other people's opinions. You'll want more growth, more discipline, more success, more control. Because now you've seen what's possible. Now you understand that the only thing that was holding you back was you, your fear, your need for approval. And once that's gone, there are no limits. But listen carefully. This is where most people mess up. They get motivated. They feel inspired. They say, from today I'm different. But then nothing changes. They go back to the same habits, the same environment, the same mindset. And within days, that fire disappears. Why? Because change requires action, not words, not intentions. Action. So if you're serious about leveling up, if you're serious about building a life that most people only dream about, then prove it. Not to the world, not to other people, to yourself. Start small, but start now. Make decisions without asking for approval. Take action without overthinking. Do the work without needing recognition. Train your mind to operate independently, because independence is a skill. And like any skill, it gets stronger with practice. Every time you ignore unnecessary opinions, you get stronger. Every time you act despite fear, you get stronger. Every time you stay disciplined without validation, you get stronger. And over time, that strength becomes your identity. You become the type of person who doesn't break under pressure, who doesn't fold under criticism, who doesn't stop because of doubt. You become someone who executes no matter what. And that's rare. That's powerful. That's dangerous. Because now you're not controlled by emotions. You're not controlled by people. You're not controlled by fear. You're controlled by your vision. And a man with a clear vision and no need for approval, he's unstoppable. Nothing can distract him. Nothing can slow him down. Nothing can break his focus. Because he knows exactly where he's going. And he doesn't need anyone to agree. That's the level you need to reach. That's the mindset you need to build. Because in this world, there are two types of people. Those who follow the crowd and those who create their own path, those who wait for approval, and those who take action, those who talk, and those who win. The question is, which one are you? Because your future depends on that answer. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. So decide. Decide that you're done living for others. Decide that you're done seeking approval. Decide that from this moment forward, you move with purpose. You think independently. You act boldly. And you never look back. Because the truth is simple. Rich men don't need approval. They build their own lane. They trust their own decisions. They create their own reality. And if you want to reach that level, you have to do the same. No excuses. No hesitation. No approval needed. Just action. Relentless, focused, unstoppable action.